I'm not religious. I'm just in love with God. So I do all of these things. Okay, friends, we are back. So the Jewish people are approaching Mount Sinai. They're about to receive the Torah. They're about to experience God for the first time in history. And up until this point, the last time in history, until the coming of Mashiach. It's an incredible experience to have that exposure of God and to get the Torah directly from God. And God opens up this incredible Sinai revelation with the phrase, the first of the 10 Commandments, I am the Lord, your God, who had taken you out of Egypt from the house of servitude, from the house of bondage. And commentaries wonder, why is God starting this monumental moment with telling us, I took you out of Egypt? Why not start this moment with telling us, I created you. I created the heaven and earth. I mean, taking us out of Egypt it's great for us. God took us out of our misery. It's not that big of a deal. He took us from point A to point B. In contrast to creation, there was no world. God created this world. That's a big deal. Taking us out of Egypt is relevant to us. Creating the world is globally relevant and globally meaningful. Why not start this revelation with something great, with something global, with something relevant to everybody? Creation of the world. I am the creator. This is what's important. I mean, Egypt is just a part of history, but this is the start of history. This is a question that several commentaries address. And if you know an answer to this question, I'd love for you to share it in the comments section below. But I'd like to share with you the perspective of Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev in his book, Kedushas Levi. That so long as we are in Egypt, we have the slave mentality. We have this mentality of, I'm going to do what I need to do because I was told to do it. And that is not very romantic. That's not very meaningful. And God is essentially saying, I want this relationship to be meaningful, not just to be dutiful. Don't just do it because you have to. You're Jewish. You get to be Jewish. You get to do it. You get to do the mitzvahs. You get to study the Torah. You get to engage in this relationship. I had a friend who once told someone, I'm not religious. I'm just in love with God. So I do all of these things. We get to. The sages tell us that the event that took place at Mount Sinai, the giving of the Torah, is euphemistically referred to as the wedding of the Jewish people and God, and this is actually described quite clearly in King Solomon's book, Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim, where it poetically describes this romantic relationship that we have with the Jewish people and God. And this is what Judaism is supposed to be like. It's supposed to be like this romantic, meaningful relationship, not just a dutiful relationship. So God says, I've taken you out of Egypt. I've taken you out of the house of servitude. Do this as a child. Do this as a spouse. Do this with meaning. Do this with love. Understand how Judaism is meaningful, how it's going to bring joy to your soul, how it's going to enrich your life, how it's going to make you a better person. Don't just do it blindly because you have to. Let me give you the context to this relationship of Judaism described in Shir HaShirim, this romantic relationship described in the book Song of Songs by King Solomon. There are 24 books of the Tanakh, 24 books of the Bible. The truth is, there were many, many more writings than 24. I mean, you have the book of Antiochus, you have the book of the Maccabees, and you had many, many other books. You had thousands of prophets. Some of them had writings. But the sages compiled 24 of them that are relevant for all times and that we need to know. That comprises the Bible, that comprises the Tanakh. When the sages were deciding what they should include and what they shouldn't include, they were very hesitant to include the book Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim, describing our romantic relationship with God. They felt that it was inappropriate. Perhaps describing our relationship with God as a marriage, as a romantic marriage, is just theatrical or fantastical. Certainly, they didn't feel that it was appropriate. So they were going to exclude it. Rabbi Akiva gets up. This is what the Talmud tells us, that Rabbi Akiva gets up and says, if all of the books of the Bible are kodesh, are sacred, the book Shir HaShirim, Song of Songs by King Solomon, is kodesh HaKadoshim, is the Holy of Holies. Having a relationship with God is the Holy of Holies of Judaism. Investing in our relationship with God in a very deep and meaningful way, where it's not just, I have to, but I get to. I'm not just religious, but I'm in love with God. because God took me out of the house of bondage, out of the house of servitude, and I can now serve him from a much more deeper, more meaningful paradigm. This is the Holy of Holies of Judaism. This is what Judaism's all about. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.